Hello, welcome to Direct Joy. My name's Cherie Joy, and I am a psychotherapeutic counsellor, a psychologist, and this is Direct Joy. So Direct Joy is now over a year old, and it is an emotional well-being and mental health live broadcast, and it comes to you nearly every Tuesday lunchtime. And there's replays available on all the social media channels. And the idea behind Direct Joy is that there is so much mental health and emotional well-being stuff out there, but how do we make sense of it? And I wanted to bring some free information out into social media so you have it available, and if therapy is something that you fancy, it will help you find a way as to which is the right one, and just give you some advice really. Direct Joy comes about from questions and conversations that I have with people, mainly on WhatsApp and in person, throughout the weeks. And today's Direct Joy comes to you to talk about lying, deception, falsities, and what is it? What's it got to do with psychology? What's it got to do with therapy? What's it got to do with our relationships? And it's quite an interesting one. I'm going to watch the time today because I'm really conscious that I could go on and on and on, which is always the case. So welcome live. If you're watching the replay, welcome too. It's a nice sunny day here where I am. I hope it is there for you too. So now we've got the niceties over, let's talk about the nitty gritty. What is a lie? So lying is deception. It is when you put something out there deliberately, or someone puts something out there deliberately that they know is deliberately false. Okay, so it's not something that you do not really knowing about it. You're deliberately deceiving. It's a deception. And I think it's important as well because there's a lot about gaslighting, and gaslight. I think I just want to kind of clarify what that is as well, because there's a lot of unknowns around gaslighting. So let's put that out there as well as some statements of truth. And that is when you or someone gets you to, this is again deliberate, a person questions their own reality. And it's things like, you're being oversensitive, or that's a big deal. And there's a real questioning of self, a real questioning of knowing your own reality and thinking, I don't really know what I'm doing, and therefore looking to the other person as the kind of oracle. But they are then deliberately kind of overcritical, disapproving, deflecting, forgetting, that then it becomes difficult to reflect on yourself because the other person is kind of informing what reality is. Lots of red flags come up if that is the case. And I'm not going to spend any longer on that. If you believe that gaslighting is something that you're a victim of, or if it's something that you think, oh shit, I might be doing that. Apologies for the swearing. If you think that might be something that you're doing, because we don't do these things deliberately, okay, all the time. Sometimes we think, oh, actually, I need to reflect on that. That may be something that's coming up for me in the workplace and the way that I manage, or it may be something that's coming up in my relationship or a new relationship, and I need to be wary of that. Talk about it, okay? Get in touch with me or someone else or someone you trust, and get in touch, and that's whichever side of the fence you are, because it's really important to take into account that. Okay, that leads us nicely into talking about lying, okay? Because we all have moments where we lie. We all have telltale signs. Now, we can endeavour not to, and I certainly endeavour not to. However, there's always going to be moments of, actually, no, please can you get some brown sauce from the shops? Oh, yeah, they didn't have it. Well, that's not true. I didn't look. And actually calling myself out on that. I think it really starts with the small things. I remember as a teenager, there were times where I would lie to acquire attention, because when you lie, you generally get caught out, but you don't realise that at the time. But actually, that would have got me some of the attention that maybe I was craving or needing. And then someone saying, oh, you're an attention seeker. Well, yeah, too right, I'm an attention seeker. I've one of 4 girls. I want all the attention. I'm the first. But actually, sometimes that led to a deception and some falsities, because that was how I got what I thought that I needed and how I thought it was best to acquire it, with, a child's mind or a teenager's mind. And forgiving myself for that, reflecting on that, knowing that, and making strides now to make sure that I am not living that, and actually my needs are met in different ways. Now that's the journey, and that's what I want to talk about today, because actually there's something about deliberate and there's something about non-deliberate, and there's something about how it affects us and how we kind of question ourselves. What is our expectations of others, and what is our expectations of ourselves? So let's start off with, what's my expectation of others? Well, it's always to be, tell the truth. It's always to be loyal to me. It's always to be my trusted people, be it my family, be it my partner, be it my children, be it my friends, be it my acquaintances, be it work colleagues. I want that loyalty, and I set that standard of, don't lie. But actually, there are things with myself that I know that, how many chocolates did I really eat this Easter? Do I want to count the wrappers? Probably not. And actually, but I want to get on the scales this morning, and I want to get the tape measure out, and I want that to be different. And what is it about, and that's a small example, but actually it's a real one. It's a real life one of, what do I hide from myself? Where am I getting in my own way? Where are my blind spots? And some of those are deliberate, and some of those so are not deliberate. They are so entrenched in our unconscious understandings of who we are and what that means. And there's what's real and there's what's hidden. There's what's true and there's what's false. And it's not as black and white as knowing for both ourselves and in our relationships with others as well. So how do we make sense of this? How do we go about this so actually we can say, oh, okay, what's actually in the shadow side is actually, I can bring that to the light, and then I can start loving it, and I can start actually living without the hidden stuff, and I can live more in transparency, and I can call myself up when I say, actually, there wasn't any brown sauce. That was a bit of a, actually, no, look, there we go. Unconsciously, I just said it. Actually, I didn't look. I'm sorry, I didn't look. Rather than having to go through the whole rigmarole of, I don't know, what is it? Is there an ashamedness? Is there a not what, actually I didn't think of you. I was too busy getting ketchup because I prefer ketchup. What is it about? And why do we feel the need to hide this? Because that's where the falsity is, isn't it? It's in the hidden. So, what are those tricks of the light? Why would it be better to lie? What is that? What am I going to get out of that? What is the other person going to get out of that? Why hide the truth? And I think a lot of it is about our expectations of who we are. And when we start to open those lines of communications of, well, who am I? What do I stand for? I am not particularly bothered whether there's brown sauce, because I like ketchup. And actually, if it's not on the list, it doesn't get done. It doesn't get bought. But I'd like to be the person that provides everything for everyone. But is that indeed possible? And how do I communicate that to myself? How do I communicate that to others? How do I see where my limitations are? How do I see where my expectations are? Where do I see where I'm falling short of what I expect of myself and my heart-led living? What is it about being really honest? And this kind of is really similar to what I've talked about in previous Direct Joys, about that radical self-love. What is it like to have that radical honesty of like, do you know what? I messed up. do you know what? Yeah, I do want people to believe a certain thing about me. I do want, I saw this excellent post yesterday from a great lady, Anna Mather. If you don't know her, check her out. She started talking mainly about parenting techniques, but she's kind of branched off into actually a similar thing to Direct Joy. So yeah, check her out, Anna Mather. She's based in Guildford, but obviously Instagram's her main thing. And she talked yesterday about the fact of what you see, and we've heard this a million times before, but I just really want to reiterate it. What we see on social media about, for example, the bank holiday weekend, is that real? Because we all have family dramas. We all have stuff going down. We all have certain things where we're just like, oh my goodness, I would never put that on Instagram. I would never put that on Facebook. I'll just put up the nice smiley ones and, the celebrations. But actually, what's the realness? And and a lot of us are real and honest about our stuff. But actually, what's it like to be real and honest about what we think and feel and what we're really hiding from ourselves? Because that's the blind spots. And who can see their own blind spots? Said, we can't see our own blind spots. That's the point, that we're blind to them. But actually doing that work, reflecting on it, journaling things out, reflecting what's happening in our subconscious and our unconscious, in our dreams, what's happening at certain times when we're really finding it hard to find that inner peace, and we're noticing what comes up, because a lie is the out of alignment, the forgetting, and Freud would describe forgetting as similar to a lie. We don't forget anything. That's a deception of ourselves. Now, that's the deep work into the shadows. That's the real deep work. But what's it like to bring the light into the shadows? And light in a shadow will brighten up very quickly and be very stark. There's a very stark contrast, which is why we ordinarily see it as black and white. But it doesn't need to be. It's okay to edge yourself into that. It's okay to tread gently and gracefully and say, actually, am I being deliberately forced there? Or is it 5 and 5 is making 11, or 5 and 5 is making 9? Am I slightly off with this? Is this something about me? Is this something about me and my expectation of what I expect of that colleague, or what I expect of my partner, or even what I expect of my children? I have to remember, he's 5. Like, okay, he's nearly 6, but he's still 5, right? I've got a 5-year-old son and he's little. He's 5. Can I expect him to do some of the things that I'm asking him to do? And actually, can I expect more of him sometimes as well? Where is it, and what is it in me and my mothering? What is it in me and my Shariisms? What is it about me and what I've taken on that week or that day, or the sleep that I've had, or the too many chocolates that I've eaten that's given me a complete sugar? What is it that's going on there, and what are the tricks of the light? I find that really interesting to think back on the day, or to reflect on relationships, or and it is some deep work. It can bring up an awful lot of shame. It can bring up an awful lot of guilt, but finding the truth in your understanding of who you are and where you're at. And similar to, like I said at the beginning of Direct Joy today, that thinking about kind of what are the red flags? Where are your red flags of where you're BSing yourself? It's one of my post-it notes behind me on my pinboard is, what do I deserve? Do I deserve to speak to myself like that? Do I really deserve that? Or actually, would it be really cool if I was a little bit more honest, even though that might be painful? And, just like the going on the bear hunt that we go on every week on Direct Joy, that thinking about going through it, what is it to go through that and come the other side and say, do you know what, this is me? Do you know what, I know me a little bit more now, because it was rubbish to lie, and it was rubbish to have that deception and that falsity. But actually, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to know that. I'm going to reflect on that. I'm going to bring that into the realness. And I was thinking really hard about why. Like, what's the benefit of not lying? Because, what is it we get? When there's poker, there's the telltale signs, isn't it? And people are constantly looking out for what cards people have got. And, in card games, it's the telltale signs. What do people do? Do they tap their glasses? Or, and as a psychologist, we learn telltale signs. Certainly, as a psychotherapist, we learn telltale signs. And I've known since a child when someone's lying to me. but I don't necessarily know when I'm lying to myself. So what is that reflection? What is it we're trying to hide from others? What is it we don't want others to see? And what is the telltales around that? And do we really want it to be a game, or do we really want to be met where we want to meet people? And I think that level of honesty can be really refreshing, because it can be painful, but it's so refreshing to be met in truth and honesty and full lightness, and the promise and hope that comes from doing that work. I see it time and time and time again. I am so blessed to do my job, because actually I get to call people out, and I love it when I'm the other side of the couch as well, because my therapist gets to call me out, and it's like, actually, you don't deserve to live that lie. You don't deserve to live that falsity. You deserve the hope of being met truly as you are, and in all the glory and all the wisdom and all the brightness of that light that you can shine. But it does mean that to find the way in is via the shadows of what that's like, to reflect on it. So that's Direct Joy for today. A very brief and deep look into what it's like to understand lying, deception. And yeah, if this has brought up anything for you, get in touch. That certainly isn't the aim of it, but if it has shaken you up a bit, please do get in touch. And yeah, if it's not me that's the right person to talk to, I can direct you to someone who you can, and that doesn't mean necessarily engaging in a long-term therapeutic relationship. It just means touching base and yeah, being human and being kind, because yeah, that's what we need in life. And that's definitely one of the aims of Direct Joy, is just reaching out in community and saying, hey, we're all in it together. And this is one of the things that seems to be coming up this week. So I look forward to seeing you next week. I'm looking for this to be a much more regular thing, because there is lots of subjects that cross my path that I'd like to talk about. And so making time for Direct Joy is definitely top of the spring agenda. So yeah, subscribe to my website. There are lots of changes going on. There's lots of really accessible information that I'm working on behind the scenes, that I really want to get out there. That's been long projects, that I finally now feel I can be in my truth to bring out for free, and also for very reasonable low cost. It doesn't mean that you have to engage in long-term therapeutic work, but there's lots of options for lots of different things. So please subscribe to my website. There will be other information filtering through, but obviously there's different ways that these social media channels work. So the website's the place to get the real up-to-date information, because you'll get the monthly emails from me. It's only monthly, but yeah, lots of changes, lots of stuff that is available should you want to hear more. For today, I wish you lots of peace and love and joy and sunshine, and time for you, time to reflect, and space for you and your loved ones. And that's all from me today. I look forward to speaking to you soon.